about the fact that how road will be secure, because James Jacobs talked about the monitoring and how can we optimize that. You talked about the interface. I will know if it concerns only the services entrance or the building walls, or both. Thank you.
The thing is like with security, you know, like you're dealing with a contradiction. You have traffic security, and you have social security, and social safety, traffic safety, security, social. It seems like the road engineers, they're very good in numbers, you know, you have a number of incidents and reports and so on, so traffic safety. But as soon as you make things traffic safety, it goes also the cost of social safety. Because they always make that the cars can drive smoothly around, you know. But the more car traffic you have, the more people like to turn the entrance away because of noise and also privacy, the demand for privacy. But that really affects the social safety. So if you want to have social safety, somehow you must generate this kind of possibilities, spatial possibilities for that. You need something active on the, what you call the ground floor. It's not enough to move everything up to the first floor, because people lose the direct relationship to the street. That is what it is. So it's about possibilities for presence and co-presence and this co-awareness. So if you, let's say that somebody tried to break into my home and have my entrance and a living room on the ground floor, then always somebody says, hey, somebody's breaking in, phone the police. Also opposite, if I'm sitting in my living room and I see something happening outside my door, I can interfere or report, say, hey, stop doing this or whatever. And also the people who are committing this kind of behavior, they also realize they are controlled, so they're much more aware. But as soon as you turn everything away from your street, it seems like the street becomes no man's land, like an anarchy way of being, and nobody wants to be there. And that's a problem you get in, I was in South America city, and because of the poverty issues so great, so everybody had trailers and fences and hedges on the ground floor, so the streets are not safe to move at all. And it means like, even though if you want to go to your friend, which is like 5 minutes walk, you take the car. So that is what you see. So I think it's like, it's not only to design integrated main routes, it's like what's happening, the relationship building streets. It seems to be a very important issue. And particularly now you see it all over in the world, how things are developing. So I think you have a lot of examples here in Biskra. If you go to the more new housing areas, you see that buildings are turned away from streets. And some buildings are very good at that, because they encourage shops and workshops on the ground floor. And then you see it contribute to some kind of street life. But where it lacks, it's not nice to walk to, you don't feel safe.
Good morning, and thank you for your presentation, which seemed very interesting for me, because it's so close to my topic. For the first question, when you talked about the intervisibility, I would like to know if when we evaluate the intervisibility from buildings to streets, is it the same thing with windows and doors?
Yeah.
Is it the same things? And you talked also about problems, neighborhood,
and for problems neighborhood where sometimes there is no where sometimes there is street segregation. Sometimes there is no integration at a micro scale. Sometimes we have integration, so there is different problems. But how to choose neighborhood to study when we are interested by how things are happening between buildings. When we are interested to work on that spaces between buildings. So how to choose the neighborhoods? Thank you.
The first question is about doors and windows. What I say when I analyze is not only to analyze doors, you need a door and a window to the street. That is the rule. It has to be. If it's only a door and no window, then I say that the street is not visible at all. So that's the rule, you need a door and a window. The second is, how do you choose a neighborhood? My case was, I had the 40 neighborhoods. Those were chosen by the state, the politicians, because they had very high number of reports of police, of crime, antisocial behavior. You look at the unemployment rates, high unemployment, youngsters drop out of school. They were very chosen on social statistics. And when so we had these 40 neighborhoods. And then we developed, what should we analyze? How do we categorize things? And then we realized, through this, we can make a diagnosis of this. So it came through the study of these 40 neighborhoods. So we presume that most of them should belong in the last category, low into disability and entrances, buildings turned away from streets, segregated street network, and so on. But these, what you call in-between categories, they were very interesting. Because you saw some really cozy neighborhoods on a micro scale. You feel like, oh, I want to live there. But it seems like the neighborhood was so disconnected from the city. And 3 of them were in the same city in Eindhoven, in the Netherlands. And I think only 3 of them we had. 2 of them were in Eindhoven. And I realized I've been bicycling along this neighborhood, but I never know that it existed. Because my aunt lives in Eindhoven. So I've been many times, but they never noticed me, because it was never on the route we didn't go through. They were really segregated from the rest of the city. And the other in Amsterdam, we have 2 neighborhoods where the street integration was really high. And now at the moment, because the prices, everybody wants to move to Amsterdam, live in this historical city center among the canals. But now the house prices are increasing. So they go outside the ring road. And this kind of social housing apartments, people who want to live in Amsterdam are buying them, and the prices goes up. So the interesting is this kind of high-rise building, they're designed by architects, and they're people what you call trans-spatial. So they have their work, they have the network. They're very suitable for these kind of people. But for the people who are unemployed, they're spatial dependent. They're very dependent on what are the spatial opportunities of the neighborhood. So these living areas are designed for people who work. So now they're excellent. But if you're for poor people, you get them into the area. They don't support the spatial way of how to live when you're unemployed, because it means that you stay a lot in your neighborhood. And you want to interact with others. And when the neighborhood offer poor spatial opportunities for that, then you see like the streets are dominated, particularly with a group of unemployed youngsters, and there's no mixture of visitors and so on, so it creates a sort of ghetto. But in Amsterdam, I think one of these 40 problem neighborhoods was removed from the list, because now the poor people are more or less squeezed out, and the area gets bought up with people with more money, because the house prices are so high in Amsterdam. So that is what is going on at the moment. Another case, what you often see in neighborhoods in the first category, who are very good, and very high. It was one neighborhood who was in the list, but disappeared, because these neighborhoods have big potential for gentrification. And then you have students and people who want to establish, to buy a dwelling in the neighborhood because they want to live in a multicultural neighborhood and fix it up by themselves. That you call gentrification. So that's also taking place. But in this, one of them was removed from the list, and but the 40 neighborhoods I investigated, they were really, they had a bad reputation. So when I moved to the Netherlands, I was thinking, oh, I want to rent something there in the beginning because it's cheap, and they have a lot of immigrant shops because I like spicy food and so on. And then everybody warned me, don't go there, don't go, it's a danger zone, never rent anything. And everybody warned me against to live there. So the reputation is also really bad. And also, when I went to the neighborhood, I saw also that the technical standard of the dwellings were really low, really low. So in winter, the dwellings are cold, and so it's like, how do you select a neighborhood? It is very, I should choose that list. So I find it like, if you want to select a neighborhood, it's always interesting to choose on the reputation. See, like, what are the bad neighborhoods? Or you use the crime data from the police. That's also an indication. If you get access, that's also can be very difficult.
Any questions?
First, I'd like to thank you for this very interesting lecture. I catch the part where you talk about residential neighborhoods and how the configuration of entrances to the buildings affects let's say, the vicious spots in those neighborhoods. And it made me think of the neighborhood I grew up in, and I started to remember all the places where we used to go and to practice those bad critiques, like, let's say, the insane places. And then I also remembered that in that neighborhood there was a kind of let's say yes, the surrounding of the neighborhood was all about equipments. There was no residential buildings, only schools and other equipments. And the majority of, most of the vicious critiques are done there, around them. And I can suppose that maybe it is because of the blind walls and the dark spots, but what about the security of those equipments? What about the balance between the security of those buildings and the exterior of them? And then how to arrive to wait between both of the neighborhood, let's say, vitality and those equipments' security. Yeah. Thank you.
But also see, like, schools, you see it also everywhere even in Norway, like, nobody wants to have a school in the backyard, because after schools are closed, sometimes they have a playground with high fences, and also parts of the building that lacks social control from buildings around. And also you see a lot of vandalism. I remember also, like, the schools were a very exciting place because you have no adults who can have social control on it. And you know that children are space explorers. So as soon as you get a segregated built environment, adults and children go to different spaces. And then the children become very present in, this kind of unconstituted, segregated spaces. The only thing I've seen once is where in a Dutch city, where the school, the building where people have the classes, was like so when the children went out, they didn't go to a school courtyard, but they went to a park like what everybody else used to play in the when you have free hours, and it was integrated in the city. So it had no own courtyard. So the teachers went with the kids into a park, and they were playing there for 10 minutes. And there were playgrounds, everything, and then when the school bell was ringing, they went into the building. And so it was a way of where the school children share the public space with their other. But now, you see, like because of security and things, and the children disappear, now everything at the school is like becomes more and more like a gated community with the fences, walls, and so on. But in Norway, you don't have this problem, so the schools is open after the school is finished, and then all children used to go and play there. But you see these dark spots and edges, they're very popular among children. So I think it's like, how do we deal with it? Either you have to really have the school that is really closed, physically closed, after school hours, or you need to integrate the school as a part in the city. And you have it also when I was born in Delft in the Netherlands, and then the technical university had the buildings located in the city center. So the students were a part of the city life. And when we have discussions after class, we went out in the city on a cafe to discuss. That was my childhood. My father did it, and my father was very young. He was a student when I was born. So when my mother, she had income, she earned the money. So my father, he took me to the university. So when he was working in the laboratory, I was playing around. That was the situation. Now you have the university campus located outside the city center, and now you see that a number of cafes are disappearing because the students they are outside the city center. So this is what you call, you go in for a cup of coffee. It becomes a project if you want to discuss things over a cappuccino or 5 minutes. You don't have time for that, then you just go to the coffee corner in your university building, and you did something with the city. And I think it's also like when things are properly integrated, things will go very well. But if you start to separate functions, then it's what Jan Jacobs say, you need a mix of functions, you have people on different times. As soon as things get separated, then you get this strange behavior, because children and adults, they behave different. The children are space explorers, also criminal and junkies, they are space explorers, and architects. And the rest of the population seems to stick to the main routes in one direction or two directions from the main routes, and everything about that, that's scary. I hope I'm answering your question.
No.
Écoute-moi bien, pour ma question en français, vous avez traité le problème de la ségrégation, le rôle de la ségrégation spatiale dans la ségrégation sociale, dans une micro-échelle. La question, lorsqu'il y a tout un quartier qui a été formé spontanément, qui a connu une ségrégation sociale, avec un type d'habitat qui est spontané en ville, donc ce n'est pas du bidonville. Est-ce qu'il y a des solutions dans ce cas-là? C'est Max. Merci. L'habitat spontané en ville. Ce n'est pas du bidonville. Donc, tout un quartier qui a été formé spontanément. Avec des fois la société qui habite sur Platine appartient au même tribu. La force. Quelles sont les solutions à proposer dans ce Donc, c'est une macro-échelle, c'est pas de micro-échelle.
Le problème, c'est quoi?
C'est la ségrégation. C'est un quartier qui est. C'est la ségrégation sociale de ce quartier par rapport à la ville. Par rapport à la ville.
The question.
This question is about the segregation of quarter self-built, not designed. I mean, just for the inhabitants who designed proper housings. And after a while, these quarters, let's say, will be segregated to the city. How? The question is how to make these spaces integrated to the whole city.
Thank you for your question, because I've seen some research in Egypt, you know, what you have informal settlements. They tend to be separated from the city. And one researcher from Egypt, Abdel Basir Mohammed, he investigated informal settlements in Cairo. And there, one of the informal settlements were consisting of Christian people. They were the garbage collectors. They call it garbage collector cities. And what he saw that as the informal settlement has a main route that tangents this area. You see a lot of workshops locate themselves along the main route to catch the through traffic. If you want to have your bike fixed, your motorbike fixed, or smaller things, you know. But inside the neighborhood, they have also their own. Sometimes they have a spatial logic inside the neighborhood that is where they have the local shops. The same. I was in Rio de Janeiro last summer. So I lived in the favela there, and the most interesting was to walk inside the favela. No, I need to turn on this. So that's better. I lived inside the favela, and I walked through it. And inside the favela, it had one local integrated main street. And there, people did the exchange. So often the self-grown settlements have inside sometimes, they have a sort of spatial logic with some sort of street with local integration, where certain activities take place. So that you see in Brazil, you have a lot of them because you have a strong poverty issue. But if you're a stranger there, it's a risk that you might get robbed and so on. So. But they have their own community, and that's also the same thing. And often, now in Brazil, it was one favela where you had to walk through to get to climb one of the hills. And now they realize that they can earn money on the tourist industry, so the church like, no, we're not going to rob them. We're going to facilitate with some cafes, because they have to walk through the main routes all the way to climb up that mountain. Because there was an attraction there. All the favelas who are located close to Ipanema Beach and Copacabana Beach, they are like exciting. But when you go to the northern side of the city, there you really, they are so bad that the taxi drivers even don't want to drive through the area because the crime is so high. But in Egypt, I was there for 1.5 years ago, together with Abdel Basir Mohammed, and we walked through all these informal settlements in Cairo to see what's going on there. And the thing is like, if you want to upgrade them, you have to make somehow the accessible to the neighborhood system. Because then they seek for economic opportunities. Because people are migrating into Cairo, you know, for trying to find economic income. People moving from the village. And so I think one strategy is like, how do you link that settlement to the whole city? I think that is the biggest challenge. Be careful where you're not.
Another question is, when we have urban form or structure which point street and anyone looking link is to the street network, what is the best business to do? So is it the same business communication?
Things like you want to investigate how the courtyard, because you many cultures you have a building where several families live in one house, and then around the courtyard, and that's through the street. When I analyzed, I did a microscale analysis of Pompeii, and in Pompeii I considered the whole house like one private entity. And I was looking, how is the entrances of that building located to the street? And interesting in Pompeii, when all houses have courtyards there, because you have several families, the interest is like, towards the street you have one entrance, and on each side there are two rooms, with a window or somehow. And if the street was very integrated, these two rooms, they were used as shops, economic interchange. So then they really have two extra entrances to the street to sell things. But as soon as the street was segregated, then the two rooms had the access after the front door to the corridor from there. So I say that for courtyard building is one thing is when I was discussing this with the archaeologists, if you analyze the whole building in itself, then you analyze the city, and then the entrances. Is it that this is a sort of private because it belongs to one big family, I say that. I consider that a private space because if I, as a stranger, walk into that courtyard, then I'm really entering a highly private space. I can only go in there if I'm invited by a big family or one of the members. So I say that these courtyard houses, from there they are like they're private. That's how I will analyze it. That's an interesting question.
Thank you, Manu, for your presentation. My question is, you have talked about the entrances and the constructiveness and how it is important to consider them in planning buildings. But how about the shape of buildings themselves and the orientation of the streets? I have been in Amsterdam suburbs one day, and I have noticed that not far off Schoolstraat, houses are organized strictly with entrances and windows on the street, but the neighbor seems like desert. There is no social life inside. Do you think that is the only variable?
Some neighborhoods in Amsterdam, they were so horrible. You see that they really had broke down the houses and make, entrances constitute and ground floor. But still the neighborhood looks deserted. First it has to do with the spatial configuration of the street network, because they are extremely segregated. So first we have no people. And the other thing is like new houses in the Netherlands, they tend to put a storage function to the front door. So the first thing when you go into that is the hall. And sometimes they have a sort of a kitchen to the door, and sometimes just the hall. So the living room and the more active function are turning to the back side of the houses. And that gives some effect to the street light. I was living in an old house in the Netherlands, and then the living room was towards the street. And now I live in a modern house, and there is a small kitchen to the street. It's very tiny, so you cannot even sit in the kitchen. It's only there when you prepare food, and it is like 2 or 3 times per day. Or when I work in the morning, and then in the evening, and that's it. And so when I cook, I'm very fast in cooking. But my boyfriend is really to spend hours, but that is his hobby. So you see the typical Dutch life, where everything is stress, and the Dutch cooking is not so fantastic. You probably noticed food is made fast. And it means like a woman spends lesser hours in the kitchen, and you get the lack of this social interaction. That is what you get in these very modern neighborhoods. So it has also not only to do how the entrance are positioned, but what kind of function is behind the entrance. That's a very important thing. And I think it's like there is a big challenge to communicate in the project development, like how important it is to have an active function, like a living room, or people who have a home office, who, and they have a single person, entity, company, and to sit and type. That's very important. So to have your working place, what's happening on the ground floor on the street. And there's another thing I also saw I was living in the street with the old house, and then it comes some families and moved in, and they started renovating the houses. And one of the family, they put the bedroom towards the ground floor on the street, and always had the curtains drawn. So there was no interaction. While the old neighbor, the old couple, they were sitting in the living room with the woman was knitting and looking at the street life, and it has a tremendous effect. And if everybody does that, the old house is changed, modernized in this way, that will contribute to, in the longer term to reduce the natural surveillance mechanism. So it's a very, very important microscope.
First, thank you for the presentation. So there are many types and class of houses, vertical or something else. So there are different relations between houses and the street. Sometimes in intermediate space or intermediate open outside the spaces. So in the first case, there are space presentation of space as a stair or space for walking. But in the intermediate open space outside, there are different possibilities to do communication. So, my question is there effective of intermediate spaces in the two crises on social and special qualities?
Anyway, when you have, you see, sometimes what you call vertical, apartments, they tend to be in several floors. The most important is, how is the ground floor? That is the most important. And the problems in many Dutch housing, and also in Norway, is like the ground floor gets reserved for storage and parking garage. But sometimes you have apartments like, in 2 layers. You have people living in the upper floor, and people in the lower floor. And then you have a staircase direct from the street up to the upper floor. And sometimes the staircases, you have in the first type of houses is from the 30s. And the staircases can be dangerous places in some areas, because sometimes they have a strange angle, and then you have some people staying there, In other cases, the staircase, when connected like directly from the street, high visibility, then it's like it has to be safe. Some apartment houses have like just a door, and then when you lock the door, you have the staircases on the inside of the building, so the people who live in the, you know, in the first or second floor, they walk like inside the building, down before they go to the street. The criminologist I work with, he said it's safe that the staircase is inside. In many northern European countries, sometimes you have a common staircase going up the building. If it's highly visible and no walls to hide it, it could be a very function, like Jan Gehl say, is a possibility to sit there and for a social interaction. You see it also in many old buildings where you maybe have to go up like 4 or 5 steps, like up. And it functions as a way where people know, sit and stay. You shape possibilities to sit. So, and it has not done any systematic research on that kind of issue. So still, I say that we need more evidence on that part. That's just some few observations what I've heard about so far. Still, a lot needs to be done.
Just one more question.
Thanks a lot for your presentation. It was very rich, so I tried to catch as much as I can from the information. We talked about that neighborhood where there are some Moroccan and some Christian. You said that the mosque was for Muslim people and church.
Important neighborhood, it seems like when you have an integrated neighborhood, going through the neighborhood, there you see all the activities concentrate around there. If it lacks, then you get sort of local shop giving food for everybody, just the necessary facilities. And then you see the mosque. Most people, immigrants from Morocco are there. The mosque, the Turkish are there. You have the church there, and the synagogue there. It seems that they tend to be spread around. That is what we so far have observed. So it seems like the spatial structure of the neighborhood seems to be the framework. To what extent do people integrate socially with one another? That is what you see. And I also find it interesting, while I was following every Friday, you always exploring without a city walking. So I said, okay, this is the new neighborhood. And I know that somewhere there must be a mosque there. And I was observing while he was doing his prayer, like, oh, the mosque is located really segregated in this neighborhood. So that was, and then another neighborhood, different. And then later, like 1 year later, I analyzed these 40 neighborhoods, and I realized, hey, there's a correlation. But I think nobody has done this investigation yet. And I think it's, again, a good research idea there. So maybe you can also investigate. So I find it very interesting to investigate. You know, the world is getting more globalized. You have a lot of more migration, and also people from different culture background, religious background, they're moving to the same area. And I think it's pretty interesting research to just understand how do they behave in space? What are the spatial qualities that prefer to locate at? To learn from this, because I presume when you plan cities, you have to plan, like, how do you make sure that people come in contact with each other, that they integrate, instead of living separate, segregated lives? I think it's a challenge. Still, we need more research results. So at least I have some tools we can start with.
Thank you, Professor Akil. So let's have a coffee break and we'll meet here in 25 minutes.